Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our regular business meeting of the Mason County Commission for May 8th. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Earl Leadings, would you do us the honor of leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
Right here.
Commissioner
Bless
District
you.
2, Kevin Schutte.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Terry Drexler.
Here.
Item number 4, correspondence and organizational business. Do we have any correspondence to come before us today?
Yes, we have 9 items today. All right, Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent in 2 marijuana licenses for Mary Mart at 24090 Northeast State Route 3, Suite 1 in Belfair, and Pura Valley Herbs at 161 West Westfield Court in Shelton. The Economic Development Council of Mason County sent in their 2018 first quarter report. Astrid Pearson and Tamara Ingwaldson sent in applications for the Mason County Citizens Advisory Budget Committee. The Washington State Department of Transportation sent in a 60-day notice of disposition of parcel 12332-50-00027, which has been declared surplus to the needs of Washington State Department of Transportation. Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent in a corrected marijuana license for Backstone Bud Shop at 933 East Johns Prairie Road in Shelton. Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board also sent in a sent in a liquor license application for the Ridge Motorsports Park at 1060 West Eels Hill Road in Shelton. John Gammon sent in a letter regarding the Department of Natural Resources notice of intent to pursue grants for acquisitions in the county. Tristan Goldsby sent in a letter regarding the jail, and Richard Flaherty sent in a letter in regards to Mason Lake.
Excellent, thank you. Is there any other correspondence or organizational business to come before us?
No.
Hearing none, we'll move on. Item number 5 is our open forum for citizens input. This is your opportunity to speak to the commission on any item that is not on the agenda. If it is on the agenda, we ask that you wait until that time and you'll be given an opportunity to testify or have a discussion regarding that issue. But if it's not on the agenda and you'd like to speak to the commission, now would be the time. But I remind you, it's a 5-minute per person limit, 15 minutes for everybody because we do have other work to get on to. So with that being said, is there anybody who would like to speak to the commission on any item that is not on the agenda? Please raise your hand and be recognized. Yes, please, come forward. We ask you to come forward to the podium where the microphone is. If you don't mind, please tell us who you are and perhaps where you're from.
Okay.
Address the commission, please.
All right.
It's us.
Hello, I am Jean Bray from Tahuya, and I am at this week's commissioners meeting to speak for William W. and Emily Seymour, who are in the ground. W. Seymour passed away 88 years ago, almost 89 years ago. Through his estate, part of the referenced parcel cited in the letter from John Gammon that is part of today's briefing packet, between pages 24 and 30, I believe. At any rate, there's a parcel of land that's some 520 acres. And it's cited in the briefing packet, and it consists largely of the land donation of a preserve the Seymours generously made over 85 years ago.
Are you speaking about something that will be in front of us later?
Correspondence.
She's speaking to the letter that was reported from John Gammon on 4.17.
Okay, the letter. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And all right, I don't have very much to say. It's a few paragraphs, but I did see it in the packet. I noted it on Monday, and that's why I'm here today.
It's a briefing packet.
I know that maybe there's no representatives from the DNR yet, or when the commissioners will be with the DNR to discuss this matter or go over it. It's advisory, I understand. But at any rate, the Seymours donated some of the property starting in about 1933 after William's death. Now I lost my place. At any rate, they generously made this donation of a land preserve, similar to another property in Mason County that is donated by the Seymours up at Lake Devereaux. A lot of people will be upset about this blind acceptance of the so-called State of Washington Conservation District obtained or overseen by the Washington DNR. A thorough title search should be performed of these properties that is on the maps of pages 29 and 30 of the agenda. I think that's the right citation. I speak for the youth and adults who have so valued the land's previous use. The property had ample trained adult youth supervision ratio while in use. It would seem to a lot of Tahuya residents that the Department of Natural Resources is already overextended in its management of public lands on the Tahuya Peninsula. It's not exactly clear if they would manage the parcel of property upland that they intend to seek purchase of through grant applications. But it's quite far away, say, from emergency services, which the personnel services to for those things are 25 miles and more than 25 minutes away for fire and sheriff. I urge the Commission to review very carefully whether the Great Peninsula Conservancy, the Hood Canal Coordinating Council, and the Department of Natural Resources represent the best practices for a land transfer. There should be an opportunity to hear from the public where adequate notice is given. I urge careful review and consideration.
Thank you.
May I ask
Go
a
ahead.
question,
Yes.
ma'am?
She would like to ask you a question.
Could you review again what the current use is of the properties that were willed by the Seymours?
At this time, the property is held. It's not being used. I had wanted to avoid, that's why it sounds a little odd, but I wanted to avoid mentioning that because it's the old Boy Scout of America property. I believe. It's not cited in any of the press thus far about this, and it's not cited per se in the pages that are in the preparation packet for the commissioners. But it's, I might as well say it, it's the Camp Jehovah's piece. Mm-hmm. And I understand that it's on the Boy Scouts that they're going to sell, but I just wish that everybody that obtains it would carefully preserve it, and whatever, we don't know what use the DNR would have of the property.
I am aware of some of it. For the most part, what they're looking to do is actually put it into conservancy. They're not looking to turn it into a big commercial venture. The conversations I've had with DNR and the Hood Canal Coordinating Council is one that was looking at it originally. Remember, that was all part of that land thing. The idea, if they do purchase it, is to keep it close to what it is, if not even less. They may remove some of the buildings that are there and stuff. That's all the conversations I've had. That's what they've come back with. I don't know if that makes you feel better or worse.
Well, it would be good to have an open meeting where this was discussed, because the public doesn't know, and hundreds of youth have used this property and will be really sad when it goes.
I will put a phone call into the scouts and ask if they would consider doing that. It is a private enterprise that the county has no jurisdiction, but I will call them and ask them on your behalf. See if we can get a community meeting to explain what's happening.
Thank you.
Yes, Earl, please come on up. Identify yourself, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Earl Iddings. Mailing address P.O. Box 2755 Belfair. I'm here also to discuss the actual natural resource conservation proposed district that's actually being presented. I know that you have been presented with a schematical idea. You have some time to comment on this. And we've done quite a bit of research out here. The concept is accurate. The concept has actually merit. Unfortunately, the agency that is proposing the management of this has little merit left. I don't believe that DNR has the capability of accurately managing or protecting an additional 5 miles of shoreline. They don't have one monitor in place right now to protect our natural resources that are in place. They don't have anybody seeing what the actual commercial harvesting is in the canal or anywhere in Puget Sound. It's based on an honor system. We know how honor systems work. They don't work very honorably. So my question is, why don't other agencies such as the Great Peninsula Conservancy or the Hood Canal Coordinating Council with other nonprofits actually move forward to try and preserve the Dewato Bay area and the surrounding communities? Here's the problem we have with the DNR. Legislature can pass an RCW 50 years from now and that land can be developed. It's not indefinitely protected. I also thought the DNR is broke or struggling for funds. If we're going to go spend $60 or $70 million to create another taxing district of a natural resource conservation area, why is that not going to our schools? So there's a lot of questions to actually move forward through this. The other stimulation part that's really the driving factor is that they are moving forward to acquire the Boy Scouts of America Camp Jojobas property, which encompasses over 500 acres of uplands and lakes. It also encompasses 20 acres of shoreline, several thousand feet of shoreline to be exact. But why is the majority of the property they're trying to get this grant money for not being put into the natural resource conservation area? All the lakes and all the upland property is going to be managed through the trust division of DNR. And we've all seen what our trust lands look like on the peninsula. I don't think there's one tree over 50 years old left. So why is DNR going to be the best steward of this land when they don't even have the capability of accurately managing the shoreline they currently own, and the uplands are being completely manipulated and clear-cut? So moving forward, I think the commissioners should really look very heavily into the truth of who is the best steward of this land: DNR, nonprofits, or the private market. The other factor we have here, they're setting a precedence of $60 or $70 million of income, taxable income to our county that's going to be removed into the tax base. Many of the homes they're proposing to buy are over $1 million. That's $10,000 a year in property taxes that are now out of our system. So I think that there should be better consideration, a thorough review, questions be answered, and the public should be involved moving forward to have an opinion on how to best manage our resources. And I challenge the public to do public records requests on the current state-owned aquatic lands and look at the drastic decline we've had in our own. They're down 90% on all state-owned beaches. Why? They want another 5 miles? Sorry, I'm done. Very frustrated. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Hi, my name's, good morning.
Good morning.
My name's Dave Haugen. I've lived in the Dewato area for 34 years. I built there because I was touched by the natural beauty of the area, and I've tried in my own small ways to keep that going. My statements today are concerning the letter that DNR has sent you all about their plans for the land. My concern is they've created a land use plan without any public input. This is unlike the Mason County Comprehensive Plan that had extensive public input. Their plans have been handed down. They're being handing down this land use plan from above, complete with maps. We don't know who made the decision and on what evidence. Some of the land in the plan, their proposed planned area, is public land. For example, the Dewato Road, Dewato Holly Road, Dewato Beach Road. The DNR plans, they don't envision not any public access in some areas, or very limited access. So are these roads going to be vacated or restricted in use? When No one be allowed to approach the bay to bird watch, to look at the weather. Of course, you won't be able to dig clams or gather oysters anymore. You won't be able to have a boat in the bay. Who has the say on this privilege? DNR has a poor record of land management of the lands they own in the Duato-Tahuya area. My brief is that I would urge the Mason County Commissioners to adopt a letter that says it is not time to support any plan that was created without any public input that so significantly affects public use. That's it, simply. Thank you.
Please don't do that, Earl. I will share with you, I have had conversations, it was a while ago, but the issue you're talking about, separate from the Jojobas one, there's two different issues, two different things going on. The one thing that the DNR had talked about is putting together that overlay so they could go after federal grants to purchase lands at an arm's length transaction, not to force anything. And what they told me, and I'm not speaking for them, I'm just telling you the information because I have met with them to discuss that. What they've told me is to put it in conservation and to allow, because one of the biggest issues I had was the idea of taking it and then keeping the public out. Made no sense to me. You gotta remember, I'm from up there.
Right.
I've gone into the Duato Bay right there and actually handpicked my own crabs over the years, because you could actually reach out there, pick them up when the tide is down, and fed my family with it. So the idea of having all that cut off from us people that live here didn't seem realistic, but they assure me that that's not the case. But I'm
Yeah.
not speaking for them, so I'm just
Correct.
telling you what they had told me.
My concern is that although nice as it all sounds and such, they've created a land use plan without any public input. They've, created this in their back offices, in the shadows without open public information. That's what government's supposed to be about. And I don't see that the commission can support at this time any plan that was created such. We're county's better than that.
Have they invited you? I understood that there was going to be a public meeting at your port.
Well, see, you guys we haven't been, the public has not been informed this. I'm a port commissioner, which I don't know if I should say that.
No,
but
sorry.
it hasn't showed up on our emails yet. And
I know they spoke with your
and
chair.
at the very least, okay, so here we are. This is gonna be towards the end of May. They wanna have this, they wanna give you the bums rush so that they can have this all approved, their application in by early July. Now, if this was really public information, if it was really something, why not involve people through the whole process of the planning? Not after it's done, where they can just, okay, we'll walk away from this meeting, here's our plan, give us the money.
Yeah, agreed. I have no control, but I will give them a call and see if we can't kick that along to make that happen. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on an issue that is not on the agenda? Hearing none, we will move forward to the adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move adoption of today's agenda as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded for the adoption of today's agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. There are no minutes for number 7. So next up is our, is that the shortest one? I think, up next is our adoption of the action agenda. All one item is listed on the action agenda, may be enacted by one motion unless a commissioner or citizen requests it be removed. We'll read it, the whole thing in its entirety to you. You'll be given an opportunity to ask a question that may help you to just, usually guys, there's 20 of them or 10 of them or 15, we have one. Give an opportunity to ask us a question regarding the issue, or to have it pulled off for a separate vote, which is by itself anyway, and we'll have discussion. With that being said, I will read item number 8.1. Item number 8.1, approval to implement the final North Bay Shellfish Protection District, SPD plan. Now that the action agenda has been read to you, is there anybody in the audience that has any questions regarding this issue before we move forward, or is there anybody who would like to have it taken off for a separate vote? Commissioners, any questions or set for vote?
Commissioner, maybe given this this gift of time that we have, if maybe staff could come up and just explain briefly to the public what this is and what it accomplishes.
Who do you have? There she is back there.
Rock, paper, scissors for
Yep.
it.
Good morning. I'm Debbie Riley, the Environmental Health Manager, and I have the extreme pleasure of having Katie Octanius, one of our environmental health specialists, with me today. She has been the brains behind the plan. She's done all the hard work and the heavy lifting, so I'm going to turn it over to her.
Well, we worked on this plan when, unfortunately, our North Bay was downgraded for commercial shellfish harvest. And how we like to go about this in recent years is to meet with stakeholders and interested parties and create a comprehensive plan with everybody's ideas on the table and not just Mason County Environmental Health Department. And we created this with Mason County Public Health, Squaxin Island Tribe, various state agencies, and some local shellfish growers showed up to give in their opinions as well. We think it's a pretty comprehensive plan, and hopefully through the work with the next few years, working hand in hand with our utilities department, with the North Bay Sewer there, we're going to be able to open up the conditionally approved areas and have those marine sampling stations in the green with high water quality and hopefully protect the public health.
Does anybody has any questions of staff on the issue? Commissioners, anything?
No questions, comments.
Thank you. All right, with that being brought to the public, is there any further discussion, or would you like a motion first?
Either way, it doesn't matter for me. I will support this plan. I think we were all a bit chagrined that our heavily sewered area got put into conditional use. And Dave Wyndham chased down some of the issues last summer, and we talked about the number of birds and going upstream. And so this is an extremely daunting challenge, I think. And I'm glad that you're so heavily involved, and I'm glad that the Squaxin tribe's involved on this one. If we can't get it under control when we've got sewering, there's something that's going on that we need to maybe think about on a more broader aspect, because these types of downgrades, we generally can trace it down to what it is. This is going to be a tough one. So I'm really glad that we've got a large group of people working on it. I'm really hoping the shellfish growers come in and help us as well, because I noticed there's a lot of monitoring with to be determined when it'll happen. And so my hope is that, well, first of all, I'd love for us to be able to fund fully, the water monitoring on a very clear basis, and then heavy ongoing basis, as well as maybe we can get some help from the shellfish growers. But thank you for your work, and it's very, very important we get this back up to approved soon.
I'll echo Commissioner Drexler's comment there. I think, first of all, thank you for all the work, and to everybody that was a part of this. The one word that kept coming to me listening to the description of the work was collaborative, and this is a problem that we have to solve, not just from up here and not just in environmental health, but certainly in a collaborative way amongst the people of the community. And so I appreciate everything on this, and certainly will support it as well.
I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the
You actually intended this entirely.
the implementation of the final North Bay Shellfish Protection District Plan.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded for the approval, the implementation of the final North Bay Shellfish Protection District Plan, SPD. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, and the motion carries. Up next is other business, department heads or elected officials. Are there any department heads or elected officials who would like to speak at this time? Hearing none, we will move forward. We cannot go into item number 10 until 9:30 as a hearing, so we will skip that if there's no objection and go to board reports and calendars. Commissioner Drexler, would you like to lead us off?
Yeah, so last week I did meet with our North Mason Fire Authority Chief Will Bakken about a potential new capital project and how the county can partner with it. And then I met with, we had quite the elected officials meeting, it seemed like, at Eureka
Oh, yeah.
Coffee. That's the happening place here in Shelton. There are 4 elected officials all in separate different meetings. But I did meet with the leader of a group that wants to put together a family center, the Shelton Family Center for kids, disadvantaged kids, just a drop-in place for resources, and hoping to be able to take care of that. Did some final touches on a budget for the Oyster Fest RVs. This week we will have, after today's meetings, we will have interviews of our Budget Advisory Board applicants, Citizens Budget Advisory Board, and then I will travel Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to Orcas Island for a annual planning retreat of the Washington State Association of Counties. And then we have Mother's Day this weekend and 2 concerts. I don't know if I'll run into you in one of them. I'll be going to both of them, with the Great Bend Music Society and their spring performance. And then we're back here for briefings on Monday.
Sure. Well, as Commissioner Drexler noted, we bumped into each other at Eureka Coffee last week. I was meeting with a local realtor talking about opportunity zones, and a lot of enthusiasm around those as they come online from the federal government. Looking ahead this week, we'll be in the interviews later this morning for Citizens Budget Committee. I will also be attending the WASAC State Association of Counties spring meeting as well as calling in for a Mason Transit agenda meeting, as well as a call into the Alliance for a Healthy South Sound. And then just one thing on the personal note, Commissioner Drexler mentioned Happy Mother's Day, so that's exciting for this weekend. But it's also, this week is Teacher Appreciation Week, Nurses Appreciation Week, and then stuck in the middle there is School Nurses Day, and school nurses are very important to me because I'm married to one. And so a very happy School Nurses Day to my wife Catherine, and appreciate all the work she does up in North Mason schools to keep students and staff happy and healthy.
All right. North Mason Chamber of Commerce Luncheon had opioid stakeholder, of which we were both at, meeting up in North Mason. Fantastic things are coming out of that. We're so proud of all the things that are occurring, and I think it's in a very positive place right now, and I can't wait to see what else comes out of it. A canvassing board meeting. I had a meeting of the Homeowners Association with the Lynch Cove Homeowners Association. The McClendon Breakfast, yearly they actually serve free pancakes and sausage. Starts at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you end up seeing people that you haven't seen for 30, 40 years. It's the most incredible thing to attend. Next year, everybody should come out. It really is wonderful watching everybody get together, sitting around and talking like they used to in the old days when we had an old Belfort Cafe. But times change, we move on, but it's still nice. I met with Senator Rolfus. I met with, we had our briefings. I met with the director of Holly Ridge and Port Allen meetings and other things that I just didn't get on my calendar. Mr. Lewis is after this. We have interviews for the Budget Committee. Law Library is after that. Housing Authority Committee. PTSA meeting. I have a meeting with the director of ARC in regards to the Mason County ARC and the establishment of it. Very proud of that. We're getting some more services for our people that are mentally challenged here in Mason County. I have a meeting with the Undersheriff, EDC meeting, North Mason School District field meeting where they're looking to establish how to use their fields and also what fields they need to bring for the future. I have a meeting of the ARC, a funeral for an ex-law enforcement officer in our community, Big Bill, wonderful man. Let's see, we also have our briefings coming up on Monday to start over again, and this Saturday I will be guest emceeing the Humane Society fundraiser. Been doing that for several years. It's a wonderful event, and if you haven't already got your tickets, please reach out and do so. With that being said, we have made it through until our 9:30 mark, and now we can go ahead and move on to item number 10, which is our public hearing set for this time. We're opening up item number 10.1, public hearing to consider approval of the following budget transfer request. $150,000 transfer out from election. from election fund balance to $150,000 transfer into election fund machinery and equipment, bars line number 109.000.000.594.11.5641010. Staff, Frank Pinter.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our new budget manager for the county. She's Jennifer Biley. She comes to us from Public Works, and she's been an employee of the county for about 19 years at this point. So, Jennifer?
Thank you, Frank. Good morning.
Good
Good morning, welcome.
Thank you. So we have a public hearing to consider approval of the following 2018 budget transfer request. $150,000 transfer out from elections equipment ending fund balance to $150,000 transfer into elections equipment, machinery, and equipment line. The net budget impact is $0. Any questions?
Does anybody in the public have any questions? No? Commissioners? All right, thank you very much. We'll close that aspect and move into the public aspect of this hearing. Is there any public who would like to testify at this time in any regards on this issue? Hearing none, we'll move into Commissioner deliberations. Commissioner?
Well, unfortunately, I was not here for the briefing, but I totally understand the need. It'd be great to hear you explain that to the public, but that would be out of order probably and at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. I am in favor, from what I understand reading the briefing documents, is that we're needing to expedite some purchasing of elections equipment due to some changes in state laws. And so, though it isn't what you were hoping to do and on the timeline you wanted to do, it is necessary due to the state law changes. So I'm in favor of this.
Same. For those reasons.
I am also. It's absolutely necessary, and the auditor has found a way to get it taken care of in a timely manner before we have it all dropped on our head. And it also is a way that makes it more available to be accomplished with the shortage of the staff that she has. So the timing of it is very important. With that, I'll be voting in favor of it as well. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the following budget transfer to the 2018 budget. Transfer of $150,000 transfer out from elections fund ending fund balance to $150,000 transfer into elections fund machinery and equipment bars line 109.000.594.11.5641010.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded for the approval of the following budget transfers for the 2018 budget. Budget transfer, $150,000 transfer out from election fund ending fund balance to $150,000 transfer into election fund machinery and equipment bars line 109.000.000.594.11.5641010. Is there any further discussions or comments?
Mr. Chair, I would just say, again, thanks to the auditor's office and our auditor and FINA, our election superintendent, for this. Elections it's important that they're secure and that they're treated with respect and fairness. And this is an investment in ensuring that on a much expedited timeline, thanks to the state legislature, but I appreciate your ability to put this all together and manage the implementation of this, so thank you.
I think her auditor, is best known for that, given a tough job and making it work, and I really appreciate you and your staff and how no matter what gets handed to you in a very short time frame to implement, you've done a phenomenal job of doing it, and thank you for that.
I also want to echo the same thing. Auditor, this is her last year with us. She's done an exceptional job, and you could always count on her to be honest and to be trustworthy when it came to our elections. Never was there any question about anything she's ever done when it comes to this county in that position. And this is just another example, though. She wanted to make sure that all the ends were cleaned up before she was done. at the end of this year, so that they had the training, they had the expertise before she left. Another great example of all the fine work you've done, so thank you. With that being said, Commissioners, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. That hearing is closed. Next, we move into the next hearing. We open hearing, item number 10.2, public hearing to consider 2017 open space applications and correct a 2011 current use application from Dwayne Rogers. Staff, Diane Zorn.
Good morning, Commissioners. Diane Zorn, Support Services. So as stated, this hearing is to consider the open space applications from 2017. There are 50 of them. And most of them are coming, there's 9 new ones. The others are transferring from either farm and ag or designated forest land. And then the correction is actually from 2011 from Dwayne Rogers, moving from open space into timber. It was just an error back then. And we've created a spreadsheet that lists all of the parcels, the assessor discussion, and the assessor recommendation. I do want to point out on number 50 for Patricia Cook, the recommendation does have a range of acreage if the commissioners choose to put it in. Just want to make sure that's pointed out. You'll have to pick a range. And then on that spreadsheet, it actually, for Dwayne Rogers, it is going from open space into timber.
Is there any questions, Commissioners, for staff?
None from me.
No.
Any questions from the public? Thank you very much. Oh, wait, excuse me.
How are we able to get this information? The website that was on here, I couldn't get it to pull up. Things not listed on this.
That was the notice. This was in the packet for today's meeting, the spreadsheet.
Yeah,
Okay.
online, we post everything online.
I tried it online, I couldn't get anything out of it.
Can we see if ours is approved or not?
This is what the hearing is
No,
for.
we're the ones that
I
approve
can
it.
tell you if your name is on it. Did you receive a notice of the hearing?
Yes.
Then I would say you're, and I can verify it.
So are you gonna go through all 50 of them?
It'll be the commissioner's choice how they,
Yeah.
that's why we have a spreadsheet, because this is, we usually don't have this many.
So this is the assessor's input to the commissioners to
Correct.
approve them.
Any further questions for staff? Can you please verify that it was placed
Ready?
online? No, maybe verify that it was placed online,
Oh, I can do that, yes.
please,
I'll go look.
yes.
Commissioner, I'm sorry to interrupt. It is online. I do have a question
Okay.
at the moment.
Was it online a couple days ago?
Yes, it's been on since last Thursday.
Thank you.
Last Thursday?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, it's probably about last Wednesday, I tried to pull it up.
Okay. All right, so thank you very much.
I figured it'd be online right after the meeting.
All right, so,
Mr. Chair?
yes.
I would like to recommend that if an applicant is here and is not aware of what the recommendation was from the assessor's office, that they would be allowed to come to the podium and ask, and we could read what the recommendation
Yes,
was.
and there will be a moment here where you will be allowed to testify, so if you are unsure, you're welcome to come forward and ask us the question, and then we can answer it the best we can. But that's in the public testimony part. Is there any further questions? Okay, so we will close that aspect, and now we will move into testimony. Is there anybody who would like to speak to the commission on this issue, or even ask us a specific issue about your parcel, if we can answer it? Yes, please. We ask that you please come forward to the podium, announce your name for the record, and perhaps where you're from.
Yeah, I guess I'm representing both my husband and myself, Ellen and Gail Duvall, and we have a land parcel that is in the Tahuya area, in the rural classification area. And I don't know what our status is on this form, because I'm not aware of.
Ellen and Gail Duvall.
I've got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was.
Go ahead, Commissioner Drexler.
So, you have a parcel, and I can do it by parcel number, but you have you want to classify 5 acres. There are 11.9 from 3 parcels into open space. The recommendation is that 5 acres be allowed. You have another parcel, I don't know if you want to follow it by parcel number, would that help?
No, that's okay.
You asked to classify 5 acres as open space, and the recommendation is that 5 acres be allowed. Then you have a third parcel to classify 1.9 acres as open space, and the 1.9, it's recommended the 1.9 acres be allowed.
Okay, so they were all allowed?
Yes.
Okay. I guess I just have one other added information about this area, and that's, I think this might be controversial from the testimony we heard when we were just walking in, but there was a group of some 20 owners in the North Shore Road who met with what's the Natural Resource Conservation Area group, which is, I guess, part of DNR. And mostly what they were, it was a very informal meeting. We were all rather large owners of land, and they wanted to make us aware of what was unique about the land mass that's on the North Shore rural classification. And apparently the area from British Columbia through Washington, through Oregon, is part of this unique and pristine lowland coastal plain area, which includes Doug fir, all the things that we know about, Doug fir, alder, hemlock, maple, rhododendron, salal, huckleberry, I don't know. Anyway, apparently it's one of the last remaining pristine areas, and we were not aware of that. We always just thought it was really nice, but they have done an inventory apparently of the entire state and have classified this as the last remaining pristine and unique specimen of this kind. So just FYI. So thank you very much for approving our open space.
Thank you
We're
very
hoping
much.
to maintain it.
Is there anybody else who would like to testify or ask us questions about their parcel? Yes, please.
My name's Curtis Cousins.
There's a microphone up there, and everything is recorded.
My name's Curtis Cousins. I live in Shelton Valley. I'm curious about I saw the thing where I was approved, but I'm curious about the public access part of this.
I'd be happy to address that.
If I read this properly, there's a whole bunch of stuff that allows public access, supposedly.
Okay, so sir, as currently in our law, in our code, you are not required to provide public access. However, we are now considering a change in the system.
I know. That's
And
what I
the
read
approval
here.
process. So that piece, there'll be a hearing by our planning commission on which date? On May 21st in this building at 6 o'clock in the evening. So it's a Monday evening meeting. We'll have a public meeting in Belfair on the 29th at 6 o'clock to take public input. And then we will make a decision on what our new public benefit rating system, whether we should adopt one, and what would be the requirements to be allowed into an open space program.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
So currently, it's not allowed then.
Yeah. Well, it's not that it's not allowed, it's just not required. Yes, Mr. Van Busker.
Well, I don't allow it.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ken Van Busker. I live on the Davis Farm Road up in Belfair. I've been following this issue since last summer when you first had briefings and discussions with staff on it. And I know a lot of these applicants have had their applications in for over a year to transfer. I've been doing a lot of research, and in Mason County there's 3 categories of open space that fall under the Open Space Taxation Act. 99% of it's in designated forest land, which is about 280,000 acres. Less than 1% is what I call open space, and under 1% is in farm and ag. My main concern is the loss of farm and ag land as reflected in the 2017 Comprehensive Plan update. In 1993, there were 22,000 acres in farm and ag. In 2016, that acreage has declined to 8,000 acres. That's a loss of 60%. And what the comp plan suggests is that as land values rise, the pressures on owners has caused them to sell or develop their properties. I personally get letters about once a month from realtors wanting me and my wife to sell my open space property. Most of the applications that you're considering today are transfers from the farm and ag program after the assessor did an audit of those properties. However, they still meet the definition of farm and ag conservation land under the Open Space Taxation Act. And I would ask that you approve all these applications and help protect what little open space and farm and ag land that we have left. And I would also ask that you ensure that these folks get notified of that, all the folks get notified of that PAC meeting, just like the ones that are currently in the open space, about the public benefit rating system and how that could affect their tax status. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify on this issue? Hearing none, we will close the public testimony and move into commissioner deliberations. Commissioners?
Mr. Chair, I'll just say I appreciate everybody's comments today, and look forward to continuing this conversation as part of our broader discussion on a public benefit rating system in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I do too. I appreciate the work that the assessor's office does to go through all of these, and these recommendations come from them, and they're being on the feet on the ground and walking through these. And should we move to a public benefit rating system, that job will now be turned over to our community services department. So it'll be a learning curve should they do that. But it does take a lot of effort to review and make these recommendations. And I imagine at some level, a little bit of guts, given that if there'd be a change based on what the applicant had said. There are quite a few of them that are differ from the actual application, so I think our motion ought to just kind of refer to the recommendations if we don't want to go through them each one by one.
Sure.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. That makes sense. It's going to make it a lot easier. If not, I was going to need to have some more clarification on a few of them, but I'd rather just go that route. But I will entertain a motion said in such a manner.
Okay. So, Mr. Chair, I would move that we approve the applications for entry into the current use space program for the applications as numbered 1 through 49.
Second.
1 through 49. It's been moved and seconded for the approval of the applications for the current use open space 2017 as listed in attachment A, items number 1 through 49. Further discussion? Now, did you want to include as
I'd like to make a separate motion on 50 and 51.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Second motion.
Mr. Chair, I would, there's deference being given to the County Commission on item, application number 50 for Patricia Cook of 32227-51-00019. I do want to read in here, it is recommended to approve no more than 0.25 through 0.5 acres, but still question the benefit to the public in exchange for reduction in taxes. After reading through that particular application and the analysis, I would make a motion that we reject number 50 on our list.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the rejection of item parcel number 3222751000019, Patricia Cook, and the rejection of that application. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next.
We have a request to correct an application that was approved for open space in 2011 when it was supposed to have been put into timberland. And the applicant was not aware of that. After discussion with the deputy assessor, I would concur that we would approve the transfer into, we're going backwards, right? We're going from
timber to.
From open space to timber. It's incorrectly done on that one. I was made aware of that by Diane.
That's
going
it.
into timber.
So it's going into timber, okay.
Yeah, it was incorrectly put into open space. So, Mr. Chair, I would move that parcel number 31906-43-00040, number 51 on our list, owned by Dwayne Rogers, be corrected to put his land, I don't have the number of acres, into timberland.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for a correction, placing Mr. Rogers' parcel number 31906-43-00040, taking it from open space and placing it into timber for correction of that error. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. With that, we will close our hearing and did our board reports and calendars. We are at the end of our agenda. If there is no objection, I will adjourn.
Oh, I did want to have a little bit of discussion based on some testimony we heard earlier, and when we were presented with 3 different letters asking for our input on Recreation Conservation Office applications. There are 3 in front of us that we, with your deference, be able to have a discussion on Monday about comment on those applications.
Yes, if we could have that placed onto our agenda, please.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything further? I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
It's official. We are adjourned.